Good morning. This is Devin with Homeschool House Calls. I am live streaming into Professional Home Educator, Homeschooling Super Moms, and How Do I Homeschool, which is the boot camp group. So anyway, three groups. You didn't know that. So that's where all the different names and stuff come from because I've got people commenting in all groups. It's been really, really fun this week. But anyway, so welcome to our third day of boot camp. After today, we'll take a break until next Tuesday, and then we'll run the next three. Yesterday, we had a winner for homeschooling consistency, and we've got a drawing today. My assistant's going to do it. Lacey's going to come back in just a minute. But today we're doing part 2. We're talking about curriculum, learning styles, teaching styles. We'll define some of the terms so you know what homeschool mamas are talking about if you're new, and you'll know where to find out more information. But let me see if I can. Alicia, come here and draw this name for me. She's my super cool assistant. Come on.
I'll mix it up.
You'll mix it up? Okay, mix it up. Come over here so they can see your face. Come over here. No, this way. Come around this way. Okay, you just knock everything around. Okay, so, can you get it? Who's in there? Okay, who is it? Can you read it? Lou Woods. Lou Woods, you won the homeschooling consistency. I will PM you after I get through with the workshop. Get rid of the work and get rid of the workshop. Yeah. It's not broken. I'm really glad it's not broken. I need to move it somewhere else. Shut the door on the way out. Okay, so today, welcome back to the third day of boot camp. This is the day we're doing part 2 on how do I teach my children. Yesterday we talked about scope and sequence. We talked about assessment testing, placement testing, standardized testing, and where you find what they mean. We even talked about accreditation. So we had a little bit of everything. Today we're talking about basically just curriculum. We're going to go over learning styles and teaching styles, and then we'll talk about how to narrow down the search, because there's lots out there. There's a whole lot of curriculum out there, and it can be very overwhelming. So we're going to talk about how to narrow it down too. So that's a lot to cover in a short amount of time. But our winner today is Lou Woods. Can you see it? Let's see. There, it clears up a little bit. Lou Woods, and I will contact you later. So anyway, curriculum. There's a lot out there. We're going to go to our slides. Let's see. Let me screen share. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to do this so it'll be a little bit bigger. Check that out. Okay, so when we talk about, let's see, there. Okay, I need to go up just a little bit. This is where we were yesterday when we finished. With curriculum, there are different styles. Before you start looking at styles, you need to look at the learning styles. Teaching styles are a little bit different. So yesterday we went over this, and we'll go over it real quick. Learning styles, there are 7 that our children learn, how our children learn best. And us too. I mean, your learning style will affect how you try to teach. But don't despair if they're completely different from each other. So anyway, I'm going to show you some resources to find so that you can work and learn, because I know it's hard. For me, I'll look at my kids and think, oh my gosh, what is this? Lacey, we're learning now what how she learns best. It's like a process. And as they grow older, it can change, and they're never just one. There's usually a blend of several. And really, when you teach your children, the best thing to do is to blend and give all of the styles and try to incorporate all of them, especially when your kids are little. You need to incorporate all of them. But if you do all of these, you will be hitting what your children, or do a blend of them. So just different ways will work different ways. I just try to present it all the different ways, and as you go along, you'll see that, you'll see, oh, that works better for them, and that works better for them. But if you hit all of them, then you're really, it really is the best. Okay, so there's visual, pictures, images, spatial understanding. I tend to learn this way better. This is one of my better ways to learn. I like to see how someone learns something. I like to follow directions. I like seeing the pictures and how they're doing it. When I was trying to learn how to knit, it worked better for me to go to an actual class so that I could look from all different angles. Then there's audio. You have sound and music. This may be verbal and audio. I feel like they can go hand in hand. Verbal is words and speech and writing. Audio is like seeing the images. I have one that does much better with video. I learned this when she was late elementary. We were doing a geography, and it was very literature rich, which I loved, and I loved the storyline. But I found that she couldn't handle the verbal. The verbal was going over her head, but when I showed her the visual, reading to her, it was going over her head. She had no clue what I was talking about. And so when I moved in and started showing her videos that went along with what I was reading, whole different ballgame. So let's see, make sure there's no comments. Then we've got physical, logical, social, solitary. These are physical, hands, touch, climbing, touching. This is the kid that excels with the science lab, seeing things. There's the logical, which is logic and reasoning and systems. My husband and my oldest daughter are very much this way. My girl is very logical, where I am probably crying all over the place. She's like very logical, and they're both the same. They're two peas in a pod. Then we have social, where you're learning better in groups. I have one that kind of gravitates to this a little bit. Solitary is working alone. My logical girl would prefer to work on her own when she does something. So there's lots of different ways you can learn. But the thing is most curriculums, that you can find a way to apply them with all of these, and then you can just work, until you see how they learn best. I definitely did not know how they learn best when they were in elementary. That's more of a middle school, high school type thing. And it's never just one. There's usually two or three that will go together. Okay, no questions yet. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, so here's some resources if you want to read more or look more into learning styles. The Big What Now Book of Learning Styles by Carol Barnier. Discover Your Child's Learning Styles with Willis and Hodson. The Way They Learn by Cynthia Tobias. Then there's several links here. I will copy and paste them into the comments sometime today. If for some reason I don't get it today, because I have several things going on, just say, hey, Devin, where are those? Give them back. Put them in there. But I will come and copy this, move it over there so that you can see these. Now, let's see. I have to move around. These are some old slides, and I'm doing things different today. Okay, teaching styles. So we're going to go with teaching styles. These are the different styles of curriculum that you will hear other homeschool moms talk about, or you'll talk about. I'm going to move over here. Now that I finally got some people watching, I wanted just to let you know that Lou Woods won, and Let me double check. Let me double check. Because of the way the screen's looking, I'm afraid that it's not live, and I just want to make sure before I keep going on, because that would be so sad. Oh my gosh, that would be the saddest thing ever. Okay, let's see. No, here I am. I can see me. This is what I want to make sure that we are actually live, because if I that would be just horrible. Okay, so let's go back to teaching styles. So, teaching styles, we have classical, we have Montessori, we have Charlotte Mason, unschooling, traditional Waldorf, unit studies, Reggio Emilia, and eclectic. I am more eclectic every day. I use some curriculum that's considered classical. I use some that's considered Charlotte Mason. I use some that are like unit studies. Never met a curriculum I didn't like. That's just the way it is. I love curriculum, and we're going to talk about these different styles so that, if one piques your interest, then you'll know where to look. Okay, there we go. Wait. There, it's not wanting to. Well, my goodness, I'm having a day, aren't I? Let's see. Let me go here. See what's going on. Let's start this over. Well, I may have opened the wrong pro. This is a day. Let's see. And narrow it down. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I know what happened. I'm in the wrong program. Do y'all ever have those days? I thought I had the right one. Let me go and see. Nope. Okay, we're going to wing it today, people. I'm going to have to go find those slides and figure out where they went. Let's see. Go back to my list. There we go. Well, we're going to wing it today. We might do a little bit of Google searching on that. This is how it goes. Let's see. Good. I'm glad I'm live, because I was getting just a little nervous because it was just looking a little weird today. But good morning. How are you? I realized that I don't have the right slides, and I'm going to it happens. It happens. We're going to do a little Google searching is what we're going to do. So anyway, we have all these teaching styles. Classical, I'm going to pull that up on Google. Let's look. Stop this share. We're going to go to another share. You never know what's going to go on with Devin. Let's see. Okay, let's share that screen. And we're going to do a little bit of looking today. I love teaching styles. I think they're some of the coolest out there. Let's see. Classical homeschooling. Let's see, classical style. Definition. So, classical style is an artistic style of ancient Greek art. It can be, let's see, that's not a good one. This is going to be our day. There. Classical homeschooling. Let's see if we can find a good definition. Has anybody ever been to the Great Homeschool Conventions? I have never been there, but I think about it. Okay, so what is classical homeschooling? It's concrete thinking. There's like a grammar stage for younger area. I believe it's about 4 years, and they call that the grammar stage, and they teach a certain way. Then they'll take the same information and they go through it again in the logic stage. Then they go through it again and I can't remember what some of them called. I don't remember what it's called. But when I started out, this was the first style I discovered, and I used what I loved is I found the Well-Trained Mind book, which is a great book to read, and your library probably has it. It's been out that long. I found the book around the time Cole was getting ready to go into kindergarten. He is 20, so that would have been around 15 years ago. And it was not an overly new book. And what I loved is it was one book to read, and they had every grade level, and they had suggestions for every subject. It was so nice. And I discovered the best curriculum at that. I mean, there's stuff that I still have on the shelf to use for Lacey when she hits first grade. I loved it until I started adding extra kids, and I could not figure out how to balance it all. I was a young mother then. I had not gotten that far along. But it is classical. It's been around for years. It's used in schools as well as for homeschooling. It is really a good thing. I'm going to go back to Google for the next one. Okay, so in the next one, Montessori homeschooling. So, well, let's see. I don't want to shock people. Let's see. Looking for, okay, the great homeschooling conventions. They must have a whole article style. So anyway, Montessori. Let's see. It focuses on allowing your children to learn at a pace that suits their potential and development, helps to encourage the child's confidence, independence, dignity, self-awareness. I got introduced to this one when we were looking for daycares for Cole because we had one around the corner, and I really, really wanted him to go to that one. It was awesome. You can find a lot of great curriculum with homeschooling. If you type in Montessori homeschooling, it'll pull up curriculum, it'll pull up resources. I have one book on the shelf that is for preschool and learning at home, and it's really nice, and I wish I had gotten it off the shelf, but they're not hard to find. In my library app, I don't have my phone, but it had quite a few of resources for Montessori, and you can find classical. And really, your library can have some of the best resources out there for researching different things. So let's see. Charlotte Mason is a big one in homeschooling, and you will hear that one a lot. She was an educator. I'm not even going to try it. Charlotte Mason Education. She was here it is. Let's see. It's based on Charlotte's firm belief that a child is a person. Lots of outdoor activities, very gentle, lots of living books. Living books are when you're reading something. Let's say you wanted to study biology, you would read books written by people who were experts in their field and they adored their field. You would not get a textbook. So they very much not a textbook. They do have textbooks out there, and there's a lot of curriculum that it's Charlotte friendly, I guess you could call it, or Charlotte Mason friendly. Like The Good and Beautiful is in a Charlotte Mason style. A lot of master books is in a Charlotte Mason style, I think. So it's a very, very popular homeschool style. You will find lots of materials that go along with that. I used it when I started having multiple kids, and it was just easier to do and very gentle, lots of outdoor time. Nature study is real big, which I love, especially for elementary. Unschooling, we have some awesome workshops in the group. Unschooling, I have let's see, now I have to spell it. I was just following what was there. Unschooling curriculum. I would not consider Good and Beautiful. unschooling. But anyway, unschooling is basically child-led learning. I've also heard it called family-based learning. It is not teaching. It is following what your children. It's a lot of it is about trusting your children to want to learn. There's some awesome groups. We have some mamas in the group that unschool. We have an author, Carla Williams. She's written several books. We've talked to her in the group. So it is a very viable way of teaching. Every kid's different. You may or may not want to, but I do have a lot of respect for it. I've met mamas who do it, and they do it well. So let's see. Traditional is going to be like, I'm going to make sure there's no questions. Y'all can ask questions. Okay. Let me take, now that I've got people starting, we're all having a slow morning this morning. I'm going to come back and just say to anyone who didn't hear, Lou Woods won our homeschooling consistency course today. If you want to win, we're going to do something different. It won't be who comments. Let's see, what did I say? I had it all planned out. I'm not going to do the drawing style. What I'm going to do is whoever comments the most today will win homeschooling consistency. So while you're watching, if you come back later and rewatch, the person who posts the most will win homeschooling consistency, and I'll announce that tomorrow. So that's how you win. So anyway, back to the style. So unschooling, we have several really great workshops that you can use as resources for that. You can do a quick Google, but other names for it: child-led learning, family-based learning. I have a lot of respect for it, and we always say my husband is an unschooler because he built this house, but he had never worked anywhere for construction. And what he did was research. He would research at the library. He would research on YouTube. That was at the beginning of YouTube, because the house is about 13 years old. And he would go and talk to people, because I had an uncle who was in construction. He would go talk and ask questions, and he'd go to the city inspector. That's unschooling. He taught himself how to build this house. It took him about 1.5 years. So I always say he's an unschooler. Let's see what is next on that list. Waldorf. Now, Waldorf is very similar to Montessori, but a little bit not. I don't know how to describe it. I like them both. Let's see if we can pull up something. Here's Waldorf education. Oak Meadow has stuff. I guess Time for Learning is given a definition, but it's very handicrafts, doing things with your hands. Let's see if this is a good one. I like a good definition, is what I like. Oh, okay. Let's see. Waldorf homeschooling method was popularized by Steiner in Europe in the late 19th, early 20th centuries, and it's holistic liberal arts education where the subjects are not separated from another. Education covers body, mind, spirit. No textbooks. Lots of handicrafts. Usually you'll see where they're learning to knit, woodworking, stuff like that. It's very, very nice, very organic. I think I don't think I've ever met homeschool curriculum I didn't like. That's my problem. That's why I have so many bookshelves. Let's see. So let's see. What would I just completely missed it. Unit studies. Unit study is basically where you are picking one subject. It could be horses. Unit study. Let's see. Go down. There's some reviews. Kathy Duffy is awesome with reviews. So anyway, here's like Bookshark. Here's some well, no, that's not quite what I would call. These are just, well, she's got complete curriculum.
Where's the stuff to make coffee?
What kind of coffee? Cold or hot?
Hot, I guess.
He wants to know where the stuff is for coffee.
Oh,
I'm using the instant stuff that we had left over from the
I'm
Gulf.
saying, where's the thing?
The thing that I had, it's in the fridge.
Oh,
No, wait a minute. I know the coffee press is in where the cups are.
okay. Thank you.
Coffee is important when you're 20. Is coffee important to y'all? In the mornings, let's see. I know. Lou Woods, the baby did a great job finding that. Okay, so unit studies. Unit studies, we have a great workshop in the group with Tamika Petaway. She now does unschooling, but she was fabulous with unit studies. And the thing is with unschooling is you can apply it. I mean, there are people who use curriculum and it's what the kid wants to do. So, well, what they want, where they're moving, there's a lot to it. I love Carla's books. Go read them. But unit studies, you're using, like, let's say your child is interested in horses. You would, everything would apply and go through horses. Science would be studying something about the horse. It could be the habitat if they were little. It could be their anatomy if they're older. So everything revolves around those horses. The science, the history of horses in mankind, the history of horses in the Wild West. It could be as detailed or as not as you wanted. Art would revolve around drawing horses. Math would involve counting horses, or maybe having a little pack of, the little plastic horses, like plastic soldiers, but they're little, they're horses. I mean, counting the horses. And so everything would go around that subject. It can also be more in detail than that. Before 5 in a Row is a wonderful curriculum. I used that one I've used everything probably, or something similar to it, but especially before 5 in a Row, I think it's absolute fabulous for children. But you would have one book, and then everything, all the different studies went around that book. It was not a subject like horses, it was a book. And I mean, it could be like something like, I think there's one called the yellow ball, where you could count yellow balls, draw yellow balls. I mean, just everything revolves around that. So another style, Reggio Emilia, I've never met anyone who does that one. And there's a small group on Facebook, so I don't have a good we're not going to go over that one. I'm like, there's not enough resources. If you decided to study that one and do that one, let me know, because I would love some resources. Then there is, what did I end with? Eclectic. That is using everything that you find works. Like, I have classical on the shelf. I have Charlotte Mason on the shelf. Using what you like or what works well for your child, for everybody. So that is my overview of all the things that will help you. You'll understand what other homeschool mamas are talking about. And I'm sorry, the resources were not there. I will pull them up and find them, and I'll post them below. But anyway, so where to find them, what to look for. That's like your definition. So now when we go on, I mean, now that you've got that, there are ways that you can go through and figure out what you like best. And a lot of times it's just trial and error. When it comes to finding a curriculum style that works for you, I would not ever assume the first year that because things change and life changes. Classical, and that's what we did when he was little. And then when I started adding children, it was not as easy to do, and I was stressed. Some other mother may be able to. I was not able to. And we moved. I met people who used Charlotte Mason style curriculum, and we moved into that, and we were there for a while. And then when I had the baby, we did traditional with textbooks and online learning, and that was what we needed at that point. And now I tend to throw in some unschooling. So it can change with whatever your season in life is going on. So anyway, how do you narrow down curriculum? That's another fun one that I love to talk about, is how to narrow it down. To narrow down your curriculum, you've got to start asking yourself some questions. Knowing a teaching style or a learning style, like if you have a certain learning style, your children learn a certain way, that will affect and narrow down your curriculum. If you have a certain teaching style you like, or something you kind of gravitate to, that will narrow it down. But even before those two questions come, you ask yourself this. Number one, do you want faith-based or secular? Because those are two very different curriculums, and just asking that question is going to separate into two groups. Secular is a little harder to find. It is not necessarily always, some people say, oh, just use a school textbook. Yes, you can, but that's not exactly all that secular curriculum is. There are companies now that are applying to different teaching styles, different learning styles that are secular, and it's coming into its own. It's just like when homeschooling started, there was all these publishers that worked with schools that started making the stuff, and that's all they could find. That's what they used. But now we have actual people who write curriculum for homeschoolers by homeschoolers. It works so much better than some of the older ones. Not that if you use one of the older publishers, that also, if they write for a school too, it's an older curriculum. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are now homeschoolers who are dedicated to writing curriculum, and it usually is much more user friendly. And it's the same way for secular. It's beginning to come into their own, and they're not going to run out and get a textbook from the public school. Not that there's anything wrong if you do that. That is never what I'm saying. I don't want anybody to ever feel like I think what they're doing is wrong. I just might have a different opinion. Anyway, so first you ask yourself, secular, faith-based. That's going to separate. Then when you have that separated, then you're not looking over here. You're just looking over here. So at that point, then you can ask yourself, do you want online or offline? That is going to separate it further. And that's just how it is. So it separates us further. I do love outsourcing, and we do a lot of outsourcing now because now I work. I'm a consultant. And that's just how it is. Now we have a very different world, and a lot of mamas have to work. So I work, and I love it. Love every minute of it. Love my mamas. Love what I do. But I have found that I've had to outsource a little bit more than what I ever wanted to. You have to blend it and make it, and that's another thing you have to take into consideration. If you are working from home or outside of home, that's going to affect what curriculum you choose. So once you segregate that into what you know what you want, then you can begin to look for curriculum that works for you. At that point, then you start looking at, okay, what is my child's learning style? What is my child's what is teaching style? What is my learning style? That affects how you teach. Then you're going to look at what kind of teaching style do we want to try out? What do I think will work? Which one works with how my child learns? Because if you have a very hands-on visual learner, you're going to need to check that curriculum. So at that point, that's the way you narrow it down, and then you can start actually looking. Now, if you want to do a homeschool house call with me in July, and we can go through all the things with the curriculum, let me know. Y'all know my free ones are put on YouTube, so people can actually see how it works. But so we can do that. That would be a lot of fun to do. Okay, so we are at 35 minutes. Do I have any questions? I know I went really fast over everything today. There was a lot to cover, but between yesterday and today, y'all have a lot of terms defined. I defined a lot of terms, and I know it can get very confusing. So let me know if you need something explained a little bit more next week. Okay, on Sunday, okay, today we have a giveaway going on. The person who posts the most will win homeschool consistency, and I'll announce it tomorrow around 9. I'll jump on and announce it. On Sunday, it is my birthday, and I have surprises and gifts for you. The live will be at 9, and I will make an announcement on everything that's going on. I mean, we're going to have coupons so that you can get some products for 51% off. I know, I'm not supposed to announce all that, am I? There's a giveaway that will start on Sunday. It is a big giveaway. It is my mini self-care kit box. Okay, see, now I'm giving almost all the tricks and treats away, but it will all be on Sunday because that's when I will give you the coupon code. That's when I will have the raffle copter. That is when I'll do all the things, and it will be if you buy something, it'll be on sale for 51 hours. If you want to be part of the giveaway, it'll be 51 hours and everything will start then. So anyway, I had a great time with y'all today. I'm going to wrap this up. If you have questions, post below. If you want to if you want to win the homeschool consistency, it's the person who posts the most below. So get to posting, ask questions, make comments, whatever you want to say. That's how you win today. And I will see you for 5 minutes or so tomorrow to announce the winner. And I will see you Sunday to announce all the things. Y'all have a great day.